Michaelene, what does it mean to you to be a good facilitator or an effective family constellations facilitator?
Oh, I love this question so much. And I even wrote some bullet points. So please excuse me if I read a little. I don't want to forget anything. So for me, a good facilitator is kind and compassionate, patient, and has the call to be in service to others, and also can take, making sure to practice self-care and to be willing and open to continue to learn about themselves and the skills they need. Someone who is non-judgmental and can hold a space with sacredness and ceremony even. And so if I could offer just a few things, continuing to do our own constellations, our own therapy, our own personal growth is so important. And I really, really believe it's irresponsible not to do so. And it can be harmful, not only to ourselves, but to the people we're sitting with. And so, we can't take our clients anywhere we have not been. And it's a disservice if we even try to. And oftentimes what happens is we'll avoid that path that they want to go down because we haven't been able to go down it ourselves or haven't begun to heal it ourselves. And so it's really huge to know the other side of the couch, so to speak. To remember what it's like to be the client and how nerve-wracking it can be and how scary. And so I think that increases our compassion so much, not only for ourselves, but their experiences. I found that telling your group or workshop what they can expect, and that means the before, the during, and the after, and what to do after. I have a handout I give to the participants in my workshops and my clients, especially if it's their first time doing constellations, with those things on it, ways to honor yourself, what to expect, and how long to let the energy settle. Because as my mentors, Jamie and Peter Faust, say, you're shaking up the snow globe, and energetically it takes about 72 hours for everything to settle. So keep it for yourself in that honoring and sacred space. Write about it, draw, do art, walk, dance, music, the integration piece before you share it with others, because you don't want their perceptions to kind of infiltrate your experience because you know what you experienced. The other thing is, we as facilitators are not the experts of someone else's life. And so that's important to remember. I know a few people think, I know what's best. No, you don't. You don't. And so to be able to sit with and to, you might get a hit because the field's open when you're sitting with them. But that's what to trust, is the field, is if the person is ready, is not having that judgment. And I think a couple more would be mindful not to wrap things in a nice bow. That's not how life happens. We as humans love to see that, oh, isn't that pretty? And everybody loves each other and everyone's healed. But that's not what this work is always about. It's to make progress. It's to hold that space so someone can heal and to experience what they've been afraid to experience. And it's so important. I tell my representatives, the same thing. We all want this to end beautifully and nicely, but it's important that you hold the tension. It's important that you speak honestly and truthfully with what's coming to you. And if you check in and see if it's yours or not, because, as representatives, we often get our own gifts. And so, to be very clear, and if you have a question, just kind of wave me over and we'll clear it up. I think one of the very, 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 very key things is to please, please, please educate yourself about trauma, educate yourself about the triggers, setting a safe and sacred environment, and how to handle someone who gets triggered, whether it's the client, the representative, the witness, even yourself. You know, we're human, we're in this. And so, you know, and this type of education is not a weekend kind of like seminar that's going to be like, hey, here's trauma. You know, there's so many nuances, there's so many ways to ground yourself so that the other can feel grounded as well. And so diving deeply into this learning about trauma and healthy ways to be with a person when they're experiencing a trauma response is so important. I cannot stress this enough. And then,
is there a course that you could recommend that we could do for trauma? Is there something that you really rate highly?
I find that Gabor Mate has some amazing things about trauma. And Peter Levine about, you know, within the body, because this is a visceral experience, our body tells us so much. And as a practitioner, it's important for you to know that and to use your own body as well as a barometer, because that's what's going to happen to tell you the most. There, you know, I had a lot of trauma courses in graduate school, but anything that you can learn more. I know that like Sounds True and Hay House and those places have great symposiums with Gabor Mate and Peter Levine and all the leading traumatologists, for lack of a better description. And so, you know, just fill yourself with those and look for someone that's not so steeped in the medical model, because the medical model wants to just put you in a box and really just kind of give you some medication, or, you know, tell you, well, this is the way it's going to be for life, and here's some healthy coping skills. So, and to learn how to be present and ground yourself in, so that you can hold the space for the reaction that happens. You know, engage the person's 5 senses as much as you can to bring them back to the present moment, because what happens is they aren't. Sarah Payton has some great things neurologically. I love and respect her so much that she teaches about trauma. And so I would highly recommend anything that she would give as well. And Jamie and Peter Faust teach a lot about that holding space, and that, you know, how to deal with trauma responses, and even just purely by example, being able to witness Sarah and Peter and Jamie and some other people, you know, Stefan Hausner and all of that, to watch videos, to be receptive and open. You don't have to emulate or copy, but allow yourself to feel what's happening in those videos. You can do it. We all know we're doing constellations on Zoom. It's possible. The energy goes everywhere. And so those would be some of my recommendations just off the top of my head. Yeah. And then, you know, yeah, be patient and listen. Trust the field. Trust yourself. Practice. Be a good representative yourself. That's going to help you interpret the field better and better and better, and be a good facilitator, and create rituals and ceremony. This is a sacred process. I have a ritual I do before to set the room and set base, calling in my own ancestors. And then I have a ritual during the workshop that calls people, you know, calls our ancestors in, brings us to the present moment, honors everything, and then a closing as well. So really develop a ritual or ceremony around this work for yourself, because people will feel it. People will feel it. You know, and clear the energy in between, whether it's Palo Santo spray or some other, you know, kind of even just moving, give breaks, you know, let them go outside and clear their fields, let them wash their hands, you know, and then finally, no judgment, confidentiality, And then just be grateful. Be grateful to the people who come, your ancestry, all that you've learned. Be grateful for it all every day.
Michaelene, I would love to be in a room with you when you facilitate, because I can see you just like filled with heart. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been my honor. Oh, it's been my honor. It's so great to meet you.